Well, hello, Do You Even Blog listeners and viewers on YouTube. Pete here, coming at you with a solo podcast episode today about quitting full-time jobs, going out on your own, quote unquote. So, I sent out an email to my email list a couple of weeks ago, basically complaining a little bit, saying, I'm having trouble these days figuring out how to serve you, creators and entrepreneurs, coming up with topic ideas. What do I want to focus on? It's been tough in the age of AI. Ever since blogging, do you even blog? Ever since blogging kind of went the way of the dodo for a lot of people. Not everybody, but a lot of people. It's been tough. So I got an email in response. This was from Glenn, and it says, I'm going to read it in full now. One answer to why I've struggled coming up with topics idea might lie in the fact that you've been self-employed for so long, you might have forgotten how hard it is when one steps out on their own. I know in my case, I was crapping myself every day. Lovely Glenn, but I get it. Desperate to make sales, to bring some dollars into the door, fast-track new ideas, to get proof that I was on the right track. Now, after more than 15 years, I'm comfortable playing the long game, to expect rejection, to accept failure, to acknowledge that this type of work can be lonely. But that's a hard transition for someone who is comfortable with a weekly paycheck and is being forced to reinvent themselves rather than proactively chasing it. Okay, I don't know what that last sentence meant, but totally, Glenn, thank you for this note. And I took some notes based on my own experience. I haven't been out of corporate for 15 years. I've been out of quote unquote, I say corporate, but I mean real people work, the 40-hour-a-week job, for 8 years. I've been out for 8 years at this point. And I tried to think back at what I went through then, what I would do different, what advice I would give to someone now who wants to go out on their own, quote unquote. I took a bunch of notes. So let's just go through it. Actually, here's one that I didn't take. Let's start with this. It is hard, and I don't think it's really ever going to be easy or simple. I don't think it'll be easy or simple. Maybe you already have a side hustle that's making money, and so it's easier to count on that income and then quit your day job and do full-time entrepreneurship. But even then, the first time you do it, I still think there are things you don't even know about that you're going to experience, whether it's rejection or failure, or now I work more hours a week than I did at my job, and then things change, and then the self-employment path always presents some fun challenges when you first get into it. Just period. I just want to put that out there. If this is you, just know it's going to be hard. Even if you think it's easy right now, and you're currently in the middle of it, there's always ups and downs. There's always trade-offs and challenges, whatever you do in life, really. But just so you know, it is hard. Don't expect otherwise. All right. Note number one that I took here. First of all, let's talk about the fact that your full-time job, whatever you're doing right now, might not be secure. It might be a little bit more risky than you think it is. I say this as someone, I don't mind saying this. My father was laid off from his company at the age of 59 after working there for over 35 years. Think about that. Getting ready to retire. You're 59 years, I don't know, he may have been 60. I don't know. Doesn't matter. He was old. He got laid off from this job that was supposed to be his until he retires. That company folded. Okay, think about that. Think about the fact that AI is already crushing some industries. Not like a year from now, not 5 years from now. It's already crushing a bunch of jobs. Freelance writers, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. You probably saw the writing on the wall 2 years ago even, but I've heard from more freelance writers in the past 6 months that are I have to find something else to do. And yeah, freelance writing was already a self-employment thing. But the point is, in the next couple of years, in the next couple of months maybe, who knows, your full-time job might start to go away. I'm not saying you're going to get fired, but the industries are changing. Some faster, some slower. Healthcare, government, still going to take a while. Just because they're slow to change. They're large moving ships, they're slow to adapt these new technologies, but the technologies themselves are already rendering your full-time job, almost whatever it is, to be replaceable with AI and maybe even robotics in the near future. Who knows? But my point is, redefine risk. Take a really good close look. Is your job actually all that secure and comfortable for the next 2 years? Sometimes going out on your own, not as risky as you think compared to what you have currently going on. So there's a little mindset shift, right? It's always been that way, by the way. My father getting laid off, that happened a decade ago. Almost. Yeah, no, it happened a decade ago. This was before AI, right? But just now in this, you get my point. I don't need to keep rambling about this. All right, next note. Next note, you got this. Always have a support network around you. By the way, this is not in any particular order. I'm just riffing here. All right, we're just chatting. I think if you have a spouse, obviously they need to be fully on board with what your future looks like if you're going to quit your job. I kind of fell into this really quickly, but I got lucky that I had have a supportive spouse anyways, but even B, I think she had probably seen this coming for a couple of years by the time it happened on accident. So I got laid off from a startup job. I didn't automatically quit. I was already coming for a few years anyways, but your parents, your friends, your siblings, your spouses, your kids maybe, I don't know. You definitely need to tell them what's going on, and you need to lay out for them, here's what this might look like. I might run out of money and have to go back to get another full-time job, to go back to my old job. You need those people around you for support in a million different ways too. This is not just if something bad happens and your entrepreneurship doesn't work. This is, even if your entrepreneurship does work, you're gonna have new challenges and different challenges. You need people around you. You just do. You just do. Hashtag join my community, which I don't have anymore. You can't. Thinking about relaunching it, by the way. It used to be Online Impact. You need people around you who understand you. Understand what you want out of life, why you are quitting your full-time job. This is not optional. You have to have those people. Next note. Again, no particular order. I still agree with the age-old advice that says, be making money before you quit your day job. Do not quit your day job with no income coming in from your side hustles or from your self-employment stuff. I just think it's dangerous. I did it on accident, and I wish I wouldn't do it again. I know that's crazy to say because I'm really happy with my life and my work now, but I don't know. I would have done it differently. I got laid off. I didn't have a choice. My income went to zero overnight. I wish I had had at least some money coming in. No money is stressful, period. I don't care who you are. No money is stressful. What do they say? Money can't buy happiness, but I'm telling you right now, no money can buy stress, right? It is stressful. I recommend you have some income coming in before you actually take that leap. I do. And it stinks because you're going to have to work more, right? You're going to have to work at night, on weekends, in your free time. Hopefully you enjoy doing the work so it doesn't feel that horrible, but you are going to have to grind to make a little bit of money while you still have a full-time job. I think it's worth it. I do. That's hard if you're an old man like me and you have kids as well. Full-time job and kids and a life with hobbies. Well, you can kiss the hobbies goodbye if you do this, but you see what I'm saying. Next note here. I think it's nice to have a backup plan. That sounds obvious, but there's two backup plans. When I went off on my own, partially by accident, I had a short-term backup plan. That was really easy. Like 3 months or 6 months or a year or whatever it is. If it doesn't work, if I don't hit X amount of dollars in revenue, if we don't have X amount of money in the bank that we need to survive, I'll go back and I'll get another accounting job. That was my short-term backup plan, which was great. I didn't have to do it, by the way. It worked out okay. But I had a short-term backup plan. I informed my spouse about this. We're good to go. What about a long-term backup plan? This I didn't have. I didn't really think through. And if I'm being honest, I'm not really sure how much it would have helped, but maybe. So, and by the way, now I don't even have a great long-term backup plan because of AI. Going back and getting an accounting job, for me, I don't even know if it's possible right now. I'm sure it could be, but I would have to spend time getting my CPA license back. I really would not want to do that. I don't want to take the CPA exam again and studying for it. And oh my gosh, it costs money. It costs a ton of time and it's hard. It really is. It was hard then. I know it'd be even harder now because I've been, out of accounting for 9 years. I didn't have a great long-term backup plan. And so right now, if I wanted to abandon my self-employment and go back to a full-time job, I'm not really sure what that would look like. Who's going to hire me? I don't know. I have lots of skills. I could be a great employee, but it's not really clear. So before you quit, I just recommend you think about that. Short-term backup plan in the next year, 3 years, a long-term backup plan. What happens if I see success for a couple of years, for several years, but it goes away because of AI or because I burn out on my business? What do I do then? I think that's important to think through. Next up, I've kind of already talked about this, but I asked this. I don't do a lot of coaching anymore, but anytime I have had a coaching client in online business who wants to quit their job, I ask them, what do you need? What do you want? Seriously. Dollar amounts. What do you need? How much money do you need to quit your job? If you don't know that exact dollar amount, figure it out because it's going to be a helpful exercise. How much money do you need? How long can you give yourself? Can you give yourself a 12-month runway to try with this business of yours? Or 18 months or 2 years or 3 months? Like, what is the time period that you have to be making money? How much money do you need to be making, etc.? Like, literally define it. If you can't bring yourself to go through that exercise, which I had a hard time doing that, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you can't bring yourself to do that, I don't think you're cut out for entrepreneurship. You have to ask yourself those questions and put that on paper. You have to think through those things. Because if that's muddy, it's gonna be a hard time figuring out, is this working? Is it not? Is this a success or failure? Do I have to go back to my full-time job or can I keep doing this? You don't want to be muddy about that. You want to be clear. It's gonna help you. What do you need? What do you want? Same thing with what do you want? I mostly talk about time. And this actually leads me into my next point. Limits and constraints. There's an old adage about entrepreneurship where, I quit my 40-hour-a-week job to work a 70-hour-a-week job in entrepreneurship. When you first start out, self-employment, whether it's freelancing or you own a business, whatever it is, it takes a lot of work. Sometimes you don't even realize exactly how many hours are going to be required of you to get this thing off the ground, to start growing an audience, to start monetizing that audience, to create the products. And there's a lot you don't know. You have to learn a lot of new things. It takes a lot of time. It's important to A, realize that before you start, and B, set constraints. I will not work on Sundays, period, at all. It's for my family. I will not work after my kids go to bed. That's rest, recharge. I don't want to burn out. You will burn out. If you are unexpectedly working twice as much and you had commitments and family obligations and all this stuff, but now you're thrown into your business and you don't have limits or constraints, you will burn out. Maybe you'll get back into it. Maybe you'll quit. I don't know. But it's important to think about that stuff up front and say, just start small, right? Just start small, 1 day a week, or a certain time that you're not going to work, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. Limits and constraints. I know you want more time freedom in your life. Starting entrepreneurship, quitting your full-time job, it can destroy that. You won't even know it, but it will destroy that. It'll take a lot of your time and energy, that sort of stuff. Last but not least, last thing I really want to talk about, Glenn, in his email, said something about proof he was on the right track. It's hard. He was working a lot, desperate to make sales, to bring some dollars in, to fast track new ideas, to get proof that I was on the right track. This is going to be a little controversial, but I want to share my own opinions here. You're almost never going to know if you're on the right track or not. Largely thanks to AI. I think there was a time period where if you were a content creator making money, maybe a blogger or podcaster or a YouTuber or social media or whatever, maybe you had products, maybe it's ad revenue, maybe it's affiliate marketing, any and all those things. There was a time where you could be reasonably sure that the next month you'll make the same, if not a little bit more, or a little bit less. It goes ups, there's ups and downs. You have products, you do launches, all those sorts of things. It used to be fairly reliable and consistent. No more. At least not right now. It's almost 2026. And depending on your business, it's getting less reliable. There's some of you listening to this who already have an existing business. It's been around for years and you're making good money. And hopefully you will continue to make good money, depending on what it is. But in the same way, the AI is replacing jobs, slowly but surely. Not going to happen as fast as some of the tech bros say. It's also replacing self-employment work, entrepreneurship work, right? Why would I pay you for this little design service when now Sora or Nano Banana, whatever the Google AI image thing is, when it does it for me? Like I just created an app icon for this mobile app that I just built, and I just used AI to generate the image, the design thing. Why would I pay a freelancer for that? Writing articles, forget about it. Video editing, yeah, right now it still works, but in the future, maybe not so much. Again, more people creating content, more YouTubers than ever before, more short form video creators, more SaaS vibe coders like myself doing things, more competitiveness, less reliability, more algorithm changes, right? Right now, blogging stinks for newer bloggers, especially. I wasn't like that 5 years ago, right? What's next? YouTube? I don't know. Online coaching? Why would I hire a coach when AI can also do that for me? It's not as good right now. But what about in the future, right? There's risk, there's uncertainty. Proof you're on the right track in entrepreneurship, whether you just quit your job or you're a year in or you're 10 years in, it's becoming even more of a roller coaster. It's becoming less reliable, less secure, more risky. It just is. That said, if there's anything to focus on to overcome that, it's two things. Number one, continue developing yourself. Learning new skill. Learn how to use AI. AI is the most powerful tool in the history of the internet, period. And if you're not using it every single day, you probably will be in the very near future without even knowing it. Why not be armed? Why not learn the tools, learn marketing, continue to read books, continue to listen to podcasts, to follow YouTubers and all these things, right? Continue to develop yourself as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, as a coach, whatever you're doing. Continue to get better day in and day out, never ceasing. That way, you're always going to be on the front edge of these changes. The AI changes, the economy changes, whatever that is. Continue developing yourself. And number two is just developing a mindset of, I was going to say rigidity. Is that a word? People say like, you need to be consistent. I think that's less important as being persistent. Those are different, I think. Just a little bit, right? Consistent, persistent. Persistent deals a little bit more with overcoming adversity, working through problems, overcoming failure. And I think as entrepreneurship is less and less stable, whatever your work is, I think you will encounter more challenges, more adversity, more failures, more ups and downs in revenue and that sort of stuff. And I think persistence is going to be the defining trait in the next couple of years for successful entrepreneurs. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of just riffing here. I hope that makes sense. Okay, that's all I got. I hope that was helpful. I actually had more notes than this, but then I lost them straight up. And I was really mad because I spent some time and energy, then I lost it all. So what you just saw was version 2. It was shorter because I was impatient and I was frustrated, and hopefully this content's shorter as a result. So thank you for listening or watching. Do You Even Blog fans? Email Pete at Do You Even Blog if you have any comments or questions, or you just want to say, hey, I would love to hear from you. And that's true. I would love to hear from you. So let me know. If you're on YouTube, you can drop a comment on the video, by the way. Thanks for listening and watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.